the first episode of this academic life for the new school year. So the first week of classes here in Canada has just ended. Today's the last day of the first week. And I wanted to make a video about teaching. I know that I've said I wanted to do this for a while, and I finally am. So yesterday I was talking to a friend, and she asked me how my first tutorial went with my new students. This year I'm teaching this semester rather, I'm teaching for a 100 level class. It's an introduction to fiction class, and it has a focus on Canadian literature. And I've been really fortunate that I've been able to teach this type of class with different professors and with different iterations in my time here at my university, and I really enjoy it. So what I do on the first day of class is I get my students to fill out a brief questionnaire, their name, their faculty, their department, why they're taking the course, what they hope to get out of it, what they hope to contribute to the course. Then I ask them things like what books they read, because it's a literature class. I like to get a bit of a sense of what it is that they like to read. Anyway, so after tutorial yesterday, I came home and I was reading through all these forms, and I was really excited because I find that students always express excitement about what they hope to contribute and what they hope to get out of this class, even if the class is just a prerequisite that they need for graduation, even if they're not going into English literature as a degree option. So I was talking to this friend, and I was saying how excited I am and how, I think that these students are going to be brilliant and they're going to have some really interesting things to say. And she said, "Oh, well, you always have a really high opinion of your students." And when I took a moment to think about it, I thought, well, yeah, if I didn't have a high opinion of my students, why would I be teaching? So what I want to talk about today is the importance of not underestimating or devaluing our students' intelligence, and how we can create an academic culture, really, in which students, especially first-year students who are often treated as children, even though a lot of them are becoming adults or already are adults, have different life experiences, and they all bring something different into the classroom. So what I wanted to do in this really brief video is just read a bit from Bell Hooks' Teaching Critical Thinking. If you haven't read Bell Hooks before, she does a lot of writing about race, about feminism, but she also has a really wonderful series on teaching, teaching community, teaching critical thinking. And she comes from a very politicized anti-oppression framework. Anyway, in this book, there's one, it's organized into short chapters, and it's about self-esteem. So, I'll just read a little bit. This is from page 121. She says, "Despite the reality that most graduate students will seek teaching careers, there is little or no focus on training us to be teachers. The assumption seems to be that teachers who are preparing to teach at the public school level need training, but not the group which is being schooled to be professors. Given this reality, it is not surprising that the issue of self-esteem is never raised as a concern all professors might need to address if they are to prepare us to be excellent teachers. There has always been an accepted notion that smart people have good self-esteem and therefore need not work at building it. In actuality, many smart children harbor deep feelings of low self-esteem and learn that academic achievement can be the best cover-up." She also goes on to talk about how she encounters students who are very wounded in their self-esteem. I've mentioned academic shame before. I've mentioned the need for empathy. I think that the way that we can cultivate this, especially for those of us who are teaching freshmen, is to really approach our students with the understanding that these are individuals, they are thinkers, they are capable of active learning and meaningful contributions to the work. I know that at the graduate level, we often talk about making meaningful contributions to a field. And yes, that's absolutely our job. But that's not to say that first-year students, third-year or fourth-year students can't actually make really poignant, really valuable contributions to a field, simply because they're younger and they don't have as much experience. And I think there are different ways of doing this. I tend to say it very openly in my classroom. I tend to encourage students, especially in the first few weeks, to not be afraid to ask questions, not be afraid to contribute to class. I say very clearly there are no stupid questions. This is a place of inquiry. Because if I devalue my students' intelligence, if I think that they can't make meaningful contributions because they're only in first year, then I'm basically saying that they don't have a right to share that space and to occupy that space in an active, meaningful way. I feel as soon as people might kind of fall into the trap of thinking that students, especially first year students, can contribute meaningfully, then we just replicate this old model of teaching where someone stands at the front of classroom and they give information and people passively receive information. So I think it falls on all of us, whether it's teaching assistants or professors, even in a big lecture hall. There are most certainly ways of encouraging a learning space in which students are seen as meaningful contributors and as intelligent human beings. I often find that sometimes the life experience of my students gives them insight into novels and into the process of writing that I never would have imagined, because my experiences are different. I have students from a wide variety of disciplines. I have students in forestry, applied sciences, students in philosophy, students in music, and these are as important to approaching a text as an English degree. So I want students, if you're watching this, know that you have a right to take up space in your classroom, you have a right to contribute, you have a right to be respected as an intelligent, thinking human being. And for teachers, just to remember, a lot of students are apprehensive, might be nervous, especially if they're taking a course that they don't necessarily have a lot of background in. Creating a welcoming space is really important. You never know how much your students will actually, if you raise the bar to a level that is obviously manageable, students will rise to meet you there. But if you keep your bar low because you have low expectations of your students, they'll only ever meet you here. So I'm hoping that you're having a great first week. Good luck in your teaching and in your tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.